Hello and welcome to HITC Sport, and right now Man United fans are probably waking up in the morning and soaking their mattress in tears, amongst other things. Sure, your club is at a low ebb right now, after 7 years without a league title, and you're still closer to the bottom of the league than the top, with an unbalanced squad led by a man with one relegation splashed across his CV. But as always lads, it could be worse. Much worse. David Moyes was another mid-table manager so far out of his depth, with an unbalanced transfer target list scattered with world-class talent and lads he worked with at Everton. So let's take a look at what the Man United squad would look like in 2020, where he's somehow still in charge. I know what you're thinking, how would that ever be allowed to happen? Let's just pretend in this reality they had compromising photos of Ed Woodward in his wallet. I mean, it must be pretty bad for him to keep his job for 7 goddamn years. Which begs the question, Woodward, what were you doing naked in the fridge? Oh wait, no, this is a fake reality. Never mind, moving on. Jordan Pickford. Yeah lads, do you really think David Moyes would have stuck around under David Moyes? By 2015, the guy's head and heart were already in Madrid. He was probably looking up Spanish apartments on Gumtree, and that was back when his manager was an experienced World Cup semi-finalist. Had Moyes stuck around, you're damn right he would have forced to move away, broken fax machine or not. So Moyes has long been a fan of Jordan Pickford. Despite once insinuating that he had a diet that could rival a farmyard pig, he's often been the first one to defend this lad in the media, so I'd say United could have jumped ahead of Everton in the queue to steal him from Sunderland in 2017. Dean Henderson. Yeah, in this reality, Dean Henderson wouldn't be allowed to go out on loan to Sheffield United, gaining first team experience, showing his quality, buffing up his transfer fee. You know, the sensible progression. No, in this case, Moyes has him chained to the bench. Just like when he was at West Ham, he chose to stick 2 clearly first choice goalies in his squad. Just very strange behaviour, and a damn sure way to cause unrest in the camp. Sure, Adrian's okay with being second choice for the European champions, but playing second fiddle to an out of form Joe Hart whose career was in free fall at West Ham, you're damn right he was furious. So yeah lads, it would be the same situation here. Tim Howard. Yeah, third choice goalie, why not? A return to Old Trafford for big Timmy Howard, whose final game for the club was over 13 years ago. Yes, he's 41, but he's still going. Out in Tennessee for Memphis 901. Moyes worked with this guy for 6 years of Goodison Park, and with this fella already having an Old Trafford history, yeah, why not wind down the final few years sitting in the Manchester stands? It's not like third choice goalies ever play. I mean, look at Scott Carson, Seamus Coleman. Lads, Seamus Coleman wouldn't have been a bad signing for Man United. There was a time when the Irish captain was arguably the most informed fullback in the country, battering home 12 goals for Everton from 2013 to 2015. This would not have gone unnoticed by Moyes, who plucked him out of Sligo Rovers and compared him to Forrest Gump. Apparently that was a compliment. And United fans, they talk about how the signing of Pogba was good for merchandising business. Well lads, can you imagine how many United shirts would be sold in Killybegs? With Coleman at Old Trafford, even the postman in that village would be a full kit wanker. Raphael. Yeah, I'd say most United fans have mentally tried to wipe all memory of the De Silva twins from their brains. A bit like how the rest of the world tried to mentally delete Jedward. But for some reason, Moyes seemed to think this guy was the second coming of Cafu, giving him nearly 30 games during the 13-14 campaign. Were the Scotsman still there, Raphael wouldn't have joined Memphis Depay out at the club's French rubbish bin. No, he'd instead be into his 12th season at the club, breathing down Gary Neville's right back appearance record. Good Christ, can you imagine that horrifying thought? Brandon Williams. Yes, I realise Brandon Williams is an unconventional right-footed left back, but in what world does David Moyes deal with anything unconventional? Apart from Fellaini. He probably doesn't even know that fullbacks can use the other foot. Williams is a talented player and would still be in the squad, but Moyes would twist his future England left back into a right-footed right back. Michael Keane. Michael Keane under David Moyes. It just makes sense, doesn't it? An uncompromising, bulldozing British centre half, and most crucially of all, is a bog standard mid-table quality defender. We've seen in the past Moyes likes his centre backs to be of a certain level. Give him Julian Lescott and Phil Jagielka, then great. The man can make them England internationals. But give him Premier League winning captains, British record £30 million defenders, and he just makes them sit in a room watching tapes of Jagielka. Clearly the higher ups at Old Trafford rate the former academy kid, seeing as how they were prepared to chuck 30 million at Burnley for him. Christ above lads, he'd probably be the club's captain. Oh, by the way lads, try and hit 500k as soon as possible. If those of you who aren't subscribed want to smash that button, then yeah, if we get 500k before the end of the year, you have my word, I'll do a video of Paul McShane. Alright, let's get back into the video. John Stones. Okay, this one might seem a little weird, but it's not entirely random. David Moyes has long been an admirer of John Stones. Christ above, he was the one who brought him to Everton from Barnsley back in January 2013. We know Moyes has a distinct lack of imagination, seeing as how half his transfer targets just consisted of raiding his former club. Give it a couple of years, and by 2015, Moyes would have long since run out of all ideas and just dragged in another former player, Johnny Evans. Yeah, you're probably noticing an absence of Harry Maguire right about now. Yes, David Moyes had spotted him at Sheffield United and could have signed him for £4 million, but chose not to as apparently he was too big. And this from a guy who gave Joseph Yobo over 230 games at Everton, and he looked like a human dishwasher. Instead, let's say Johnny Evans, a top quality defender unfairly ditched by Louis van Gaal. Had Moyes stayed, this could have almost been a one club man, you know, if you just forget the loan deals. Phil Jagielka. Yeah lads, I had to put him in. I have to think in 7 years as manager, David Moyes would have signed Phil Jagielka at least once. In his head, this man is like the Sheffield Franco Baresi, a Premier League champion just without the medals. Yes, with Moyes still at the club, this fellow will be a 37-year-old bench warmer at Old Trafford. Leighton Baines. Yes, one left back in the entire squad. Welcome to the mental world of David Moyes' logic. Moyes openly tried to sign this fella from Everton back in 2013. Sure, they were rejected that summer, But do you really think he wouldn't have tried again in 2014? Marouane. Yes, another former Everton fella stuffed in the squad. Listen, as we know, Moyes signed him in 2013, and I have to think if he was still there, so would Fellaini. Christ, Moyes would probably like to be buried in the same coffin as this man. Is it any coincidence West Ham are currently linked with the move for the Belgian troll doll? This fella's height, his awkward elbows, his threaded corner kicks. Moyes loves this man so much he'd probably elope with him to Paris. Adam Lallana. It's no secret David Moyes is a big fan of Adam Lallana. While Man United boss in 2013, he was eyeing up a move for the Southampton captain. Even now, 7 years later, he's wanting to bring him to West Ham. Over the course of 7 years, you're damn right that is long enough to get the man he wants. Also, Lallana was a boyhood Everton fan, so he probably worships all things David Moyes. Probably praised the religion of Tim Cahill. Juan Mata, one of the few survivors of the current Man United squad. Listen, Moyes chucked nearly £40 million of Man United's money on this man. He was basically chucking his reputation and job on the line to bring this guy in from Chelsea. Either that, or he was just a desperate, expensive throw of the dice to drag him out of a mid-season hole and save his job. Selling Mata would be Moyes admitting he got a club record transfer wrong. And when does he ever admit that he failed at Old Trafford? He probably thinks banning the ketchup from the canteen was a genius move. So no, the Spaniard would probably have job security for life. Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley was one of the most talented footballers David Moyes ever discovered. This guy was allowed wind up at Chelsea for just 15 million quid. Were Moyes still at Old Trafford, without a shadow of a doubt he'd have brought in Barkley by now. For God's sake, it's 2020 and he's still being linked for bringing him to West Ham on loan. Cesc Fabregas. Okay, yeah, Cesc Fabregas rejected David Moyes back in 2013, but lads, that was 7 years ago. The Spaniard doesn't really have the same number of clubs wanting his signature anymore. When he left Chelsea, it was to step into a relegation battle in France. I'm pretty sure had Man United shown an interest, he'd have swapped West London for them. I mean, clearly this man doesn't really have an iota of loyalty towards English clubs, now does he? Although, whether Man United fans would have accepted signing a man who admitted to chucking a pizza at the greatest manager of all time, I'm not so sure. Toni Kroos. One of the only downsides to Man United sacking David Moyes was that they were also chucking a deal for Toni Kroos down the toilet. It had all been agreed. Kroos was literally a plane ticket and a pen away from becoming a Man United player. And then Moyes was sacked, Kroos won the World Cup that summer, and suddenly Real Madrid had jumped to the front of the queue. But had Moyes stayed, then yeah, it would be this guy and not Pogba, who was the big money midfielder with the weight of the British media pressing on his head. God, Kroos is probably so relieved Moyes was sacked. Nemanja Matic. Alright, no Pogba here, with Moyes already having rejected the opportunity to sign him from Juventus in 2013. But there is Nemanja Matic. Moyes has said he was interested in dragging him in from Benfica that same summer. So yeah, like Mata, this guy keeps his place. I'm sure Man United fans can barely contain their excitement. Jack Grealish. David Moyes is in love with Jack Grealish. I'm sorry, but he is. The amount of time he's praised the Aston Villa captain in the media, calling him a £60 million player, how he should be an England international. While Villa were in the Championship, this guy almost wound up at Spurs. I'm pretty sure were Moyes still at Old Trafford, then yeah, he'd have stamped him up by now. ADNAN JANUZAJ. David Moyes is obsessed with ADNAN JANUZAJ. He's only 25, but he's almost spent his entire career being followed by this man. Moyes was the man who chucked a teenage rookie onto the right wing in his sole season at the club. JANUZAJ is probably the only member of that squad who's actively sad about Moyes' departure. Moyes has since brought him to Sunderland on loan, being linked with him at West Ham, and he apparently turned down a £40 million bid from PSG. Yes, 40 million. Absolutely mental. This guy is a lightweight, 80-pound candlestick, with all the upper body strength of a melted Kit Kat. Completely unfit for English football, but still under Moyes, this guy would be into his 10th year at Old Trafford, and frustrating the fans each and every week. Jesse Lingard. Lads, Jesse Lingard has already lasted 20 years at Old Trafford. I think it's safe to say that guy could survive a nuclear blast. Yes, he spent the Moyes era out on loan in the Championship, but the Scotsman did declare him as Manchester United's future. To be fair, he wasn't wrong, but FA Cup winner aside, it's not exactly the future anybody wanted. Except Lingard, he probably can't believe his luck. Marco Reus. See, Man United fans, it's not all bad. Just a weird mix of brilliant players with absolutely bog standard mid-table fluff. In the spring of 2014, just days before his sacking, Moyes was heavily linked with the move for Borussia Dortmund sideman Marco Reus. A fantastic, speedy, direct attacker, but who also had limbs made of cheese string. Marcus Rashford. Now, there is a myth that it was Louis van Gaal who magically discovered Marcus Rashford, and without him, this fellow would just be scrubbing the toilets in KFC. Absolutely wrong. It was Moyes who handpicked Rashford to train with the first team back in 2013. It doesn't matter who the manager would have been. This guy would have eventually wound up with the Man United first team. Well, actually, maybe not under Mourinho, since he somehow overlooked Kevin De Bruyne at Chelsea, so yeah, he'd probably have sentenced him to about 6 different loans. But under Moyes, yeah, he'd have been just fine. Mason Greenwood. Again, like Rashford, Mason Greenwood's rise to the first team wouldn't have been halted by David Moyes. He wouldn't have been hampered at all. It would be alright. He'd have made it, no biggie. Jared Bowen. Yeah, this is what happens if you employ David Moyes for 7 years, alright? It's like a jail sentence. After 11 trophyless years at Goodison Park, this guy had been living in the realm of bargain basement signings handpicked out of the Championship. In the 8 months he had in Manchester, he was never fully able to change that mentality. So the likes of Jared Bowen, who he's just swooped for from Hull City in January, this is the perfect type of bargain buy from the Championship that he loves. And so yeah, unfortunately for Man United fans, this fellow will be your marquee signing this season. Christ above. Anyway, that's it, lads. See, Man United fans, it could be much, much worse. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.